If you're a CrossFitter thinking of purchasing a new pair of running shoes, then you're probably considering the Nobull Runner, and today's question that I'm going to try to answer is, are they worth it? What's up everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Excellence in Motion presented by Energy Physio. I'm Doc Caden and I'm here to inspire you to achieve your potential through movement. If we're just meeting for the first time, I do videos on health education, movement tips, and fitness gear reviews just like this one. So if that stuff interests you, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking today's video. It really helps push the content out to more people. When it comes to purchasing a new pair of running shoes, you have to consider quite a few things. One of those things, first and foremost, is cost.
I want to know what my money is, and I want to know right now.
Okay.
How much is it going to cost me to buy a new pair of running shoes, and what is the value of the cost of those shoes? Running shoes are a tool meant to aid in the process of running.
Right.
If we purchase the wrong tool for the wrong job, we sometimes end up with bad results, and that's why we see people who have issues with their feet and their knees and their hips when they're running in shoes that aren't made for their feet. On that same note though, I do believe that running shoes are actually the cause of a lot of issues that we see in people, even if they are fitted appropriately. Noble as the intentions are with modern day running shoes, they actually cause quite a bit more problems than they actually prevent.
What?
The modern day running shoe is built on the idea that we need to have lots of cushion and lots of comfort in order to limit and minimize the amount of pain that we experience in the knees and the ankles and the hips. The big problem with that though is that those types of shoes are actually promoting a bad running form. But we'll get into that in a little bit. The real topic of today is whether or not you should purchase the Nobull running shoe. First off, let's just get the obvious out of the way. Do I like the shoe? Do I not like the shoe? Yes, I like the Nobull Runners. I think they're a good shoe. I think they're comfortable, and I think they will be a good fit for most people. Some of the things that I like about the Nobull Runners are that they're pretty reasonably priced for running shoes. A lot of times if you want a more popular running shoe brand, you're gonna be spending somewhere around 150 to 200 bucks, and that's sort of where these shoes kind of land. They're a pretty good price point for purchasing a pair of running shoes. I also like the different variations of the shoe that you can purchase. I happen to have the Ripstop Runner. It has a different sort of mesh upper that's not the same as some of the other versions of the shoe. There's actually a true mesh runner and also a knit runner. So they have different materials, different colors, different customizable options and price points related to those. So your ability to customize based on what you want is actually pretty high, and that's another reason why I think this is a good purchase. On the concept of running form, it's pretty common for a lot of people who are not experienced runners or who are just average fitness enthusiasts to have a little bit of a heel strike when they run. While this is something that I don't promote in my athletes and I'm not encouraging you to do, it happens nonetheless. And I think having a shoe that can protect against some of the harmful effects of heel striking is a good investment in your health. And the Nobull Runner is perfect for that. You can tell on the Nobull Runner, it's got quite a bit of cushion around that heel on the backside. It's a huge drop in the heel that provides a lot of cloud-like cushiony feeling for those of you who are heel strikers. And this happens to also be one of my negatives for the shoe. It's so cushiony that it promotes people to continue with the heel striking pattern long after they've had the shoe and not try to adopt a new running style. For me personally, I used to be more of a heel striker, but I'm very conscious of the amount of thickness that's in the back of this shoe, and I try to land more on the midsole portion of my foot, more into the ball of my feet when I run, so I minimize the amount of impact I have through the heel, even though that is there to protect me if I start to get fatigued and tired. Overall construction of the shoe is pretty good. I think the upper on the Ripstop Runner has done pretty well in the last like 6 or 7 months that I've owned this shoe. The bottom of the shoe shows really no signs of like a lot of wear and tear, but that's honestly because I'm a fitness athlete, I'm not a runner. I'm not putting a ton of miles on these things, I'm using them every so often. So if that's someone like yourself, then these should be perfectly fine. If you're someone who's running a lot, you may not want to invest in these based off of what I'm saying, because I have no idea what they look like after a lot of heavy use. One small complaint I have for the ripstop material is that this kind of upper material right here that sort of lines the toe box is a little bit rough and can dig into your toes a tad. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but it'll do because I don't really use the shoes that often. The toe box is another one of my bigger complaints. It's really freaking narrow. I prefer to have a wider toe box so that my feet can spread and utilize more of the space that they're given. This shoe promotes a little bit more of that narrow squeeze into the shoe, so the way that it fits is a little bit narrow, and that's not something that I enjoy a ton. I think if you're looking for something with more of a wider toe box, I think the Ultras are probably a good option. I've seen those around on a lot of people's feet and they have a pretty wide toe box. Those are just a few of my thoughts on the shoe after owning them and running in them. I think they're really comfortable. They're nice for quick, short bursts of running. If you have to do a workout that maybe has like a mile or a mile and a half in it with some other plyometric work, it can be a really good option for that. If you're doing fitness stuff that has a little bit of running and then a lot of other weightlifting and other sorts of plyometrics, I wouldn't recommend using these shoes for workouts like that, just because they're not very stable and you could twist your ankle. I would like to use something more like a Nano, a Metcon, or the Nobull Trainer instead of the Runner in situations like that, because you don't want to roll your ankle on something as high up as this running shoe. So who is the Nobull Runner for? I personally think it's for your average CrossFitter and fitness enthusiast who wants to have a good shoe option for those workouts that pop up when you need to run a little bit over a mile, or there's just a lot of cardio stuff and you don't need more support for weightlifting and other things like that. If you're an avid runner and you're not doing other fitness pieces, you're not doing a lot of weightlifting and gymnastics, and you just want a running shoe that you can put a lot of miles into, I probably wouldn't recommend this one. I'd look into something a little bit more reputable like the Ultras or Asics or whatever it is brand that you like or have been using in the past. I would pass on these. I would only use these if it's something that's every so often and pretty infrequent. Again, somebody who has a wide foot might not like this shoe very much either, because it's very narrow and can be a little restrictive for the foot altogether. I know today's video was a little bit quick and I just kind of rattled off some things that I think about the shoe and positives and negatives. This is really just my opinion based on personal use and what I think would be useful for most people. If you have any comments about the Nobull Runner, if you've used them before, or if you have questions about it, please leave them in the comments below. I'd really love to read through some of that stuff and answer as many questions as I possibly can. At the end of the day, the question of whether or not the Nobull Runners are worth it to you is a personal thing. You're the one that has to place value on the things that you spend your money on. For me, I thought this was a worthy purchase. I bought them, I used them for the things that I need them for, and then I just put them in my bag and save them there. It was a worthy purchase for me because I haven't blown through them yet and I can have these for quite a long time. That's it for today's video. As always, if you guys like this kind of stuff and you want to see more, I'll put some other videos over here for you to watch. But until next time, go out, do good things, and don't forget to move. I'll catch you in the next one.